Hey, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. You're listening to the longest running superhero role playing game on Earth. I'm your host, the Game Master, and today we're talking about Black Cat, Doctor Strange, Spider Man, Superboy, the various super women, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Venom, and just all sorts of stuff. But before we get into it, smash that like button, check to see if you're still subscribed, and leave us a comment. It helps us with the YouTube algorithm, but also we just love hearing from you guys. We've got an awesome community here, and it's thanks to you. So thank you so much for being here. With all that said, let's dive in. The prologue to this one takes place during the recent Invasion storyline. An alien alliance, which consisted of various extraterrestrials like the Dominators, the Kuns, the Scions, the Thanagarians, and the Warlords of Okarna, attacked the Earth. In the 1980s, Superboy was one of many heroes who fought back. And at one point, he used his super flare ability, which used up every last bit of solar energy that he had absorbed over the years, leaving him powerless. And not long ago, the general public learned that he and his mother were members of the Superman family. So without any powers, his safety is now in question. Looking for some way to get his powers back, he recently teamed up with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Donatello, who is the team's gadgeteer, has one of the greatest scientific minds of all time. In the past, Donatello once built a Stargate using stuff people just throw away. And at another point, he found a magic time travel scepter and was able to build a replica of it in a very short while using technology instead of magic. So Donatello tries to get Superboy his powers back, but fails. And the only other thing he can think of would be to transfer somebody else's powers into Superboy. But if he did, Superboy might then become possessed by that person's mind as well. And since Superboy used to be possessed by Lord Zod, he's not a fan of anyone or anything else potentially taking over his body. Which brings us to the main plot. As the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles guide a powerless Superboy through the seemingly endless labyrinth of tunnels underneath New York City, they hear somebody talking. So Leonardo puts one finger to his lips, gesturing for Superboy and the others to be quiet. They move in using stealth, and in the next chamber, they encounter Eddie Brock, aka Venom. He's in the sewer and clearly lives here. There are girly posters on the wall and various bits of old furniture that people have thrown out, as well as some exercise equipment. Eddie is lifting weights and talking about how Spider Man ruined his life. Eddie's talking about how he wants Peter Parker to suffer. So he's going to kill everybody that Parker loves first. Then he'll kill Parker last. Raphael has heard enough. So he throws one of his sais, getting a surprise attack. The sai sticks in Eddie Brock, who, by the way, is the size of a young Arnold Schwarzenegger. Leo says, "What happened to stealth, Raph?" Raph says, I'm sick of sneaking around. Besides, this guy don't look so tough to me. Then the Venom symbiote covers Brock's body and opens its mouth, showing off its ridiculously sharp teeth and long tongue. You were saying, Raph? Quips Donatello. Venom attacks the turtles, and Michelangelo says, Duck, dudes! Venom multi attacks them, and despite his superhuman agility, he still doesn't roll quite high enough to hit them all at once. Leonardo realizes that since Superboy doesn't have any powers now, This fight might kill him, so he orders his brothers to retreat. Donnie and Mikey are quick to obey, but Raph says he's not a coward and wants to stand his ground. So Venom attacks Raph, hitting him and doing massive amounts of damage. Donnie subs an Omni gadget for Sonic Beam. And man, this thing really bothers me. Donatello has never met Venom before, and he should have no idea what his weaknesses are. This is like crappy D&D players who meet a troll for the very first time and immediately light their torches. I could do a whole video about the problems with this alone, but I don't want to get too off topic. Point being, Donatello uses a sound gun on Venom, so Venom hides in a dark sewer while the turtles go topside. Leo and Mikey are carrying Raph, whose ego and temper got his butt knocked out, and Venom sticks an arm up through a storm drain and uses a fire hydrant to soak Donatello's gadgets. So his various items spark and malfunction. And then Venom fully emerges from the sewer as innocent bystanders scream and run. Hearing the commotion is Black Cat, aka Felicia Hardy. She shows up with Raph knocked out. His player then played Black Cat instead. So Felicia and the remaining three turtles fight Venom, and it goes very poorly. Finally, Spider-Man shows up just as Venom was getting ready to eat Superboy. Spidey swings down and grabs Superboy, saying, "Man, you need to get some better friends, kiddo." Superboy freaks out because he's afraid of heights. So Spidey sticks him on top of a nearby building and tells him to sit tight. Venom yells that he's going to disembowel Spider-Man's wife and daughter in front of him, then kill Spider-Man nice and slow so as to enjoy every second of the whole experience. And Black Cat says, "Wife? You're married?" Donatello struggles to fix his gadgets as Leo uses throwing stars on Venom. Mikey has this weird grappling hook thing, so he gets one end of it around Venom and then throws the other end over some nearby power lines. Spider-Man tells Black Cat that he never told anyone when he got married because it's called a secret identity. Black Cat had held out hope that they might get back together one day, and now she feels like she's wasted too much of her life waiting on him, so she's mad at him, which he doesn't understand. He thinks she feels like she's the other woman. But Spidey hasn't laid a finger on her for years, and certainly not since he married Mary Jane Watson. Donatello says he's sorry for interrupting, but they still have a gross tar monster to deal with. Venom takes damage from the power lines, but when they short out, he's free to attack some more. Spider-Man needs more help, so he suggests they all go to the Baxter building and get some help from the FF. So he grabs Superboy and web slings that way. So it's a chase scene through busy New York City traffic, and Raph wakes up at this point, which means Black Cat kind of just wanders off, since the player was more interested in being Raph. The heroes get to the Baxter building, and Spider-Man pushes the button out front, asking for the Human Torch to buzz them in. Venom catches up to the heroes, some more combat takes place, and this time, the spiky Thing, who, for those who don't know, in the 1980s, the Thing was exposed to cosmic rays again, and it gave him basically like a double mutation. So he had grown spikes, and he was with Sharon Ventura at the time, who was, I believe, the second Ms. Marvel, and she basically became the She-Thing. At any rate, so Spiky Thing joins the fight, and they beat on Venom for a while, and in the end, Venom is forced to retreat into the sewers, but not before stabbing Superboy in the chest, which, by the way, destroyed the S on his chest. So the Thing says back in the good old days, most villains would never dream of stabbing a kid. Ben Grimm also comments on how weird it is that Superboy is stabbable now. Donatello explains that Superboy used the super flare power during the recent alien war, and now he's out of juice. Spider Man asks if Franklin Richards is home since he has Omni power and could sub it for regeneration usable on others. But Ben says that Franklin and Herbie are off world right now. Seeing that there isn't a moment to lose, Spider Man grabs Superboy using webbing to stick him to his back, sort of like when Chewbacca was carrying C3PO around in The Empire Strikes Back. And Spider Man heads to the only other guy in town that he could think of who might be able to help. That brings us to our epilogue. So, Spider Man arrives at the Sanctum Sanctorum, the home of Dr. Stephen Strange, the current Sorcerer Supreme of the planet Earth. And as soon as they arrive, Dr. Strange subs sorcery for regeneration usable on others and heals Superboy's wounds. Dr. Strange, by the way, in our game world, would have been played by Vincent Price. And as such, he has a charismatic way of coming off as warm and caring while still having a slightly dark sense of humor. So he gives Spidey a slight smirk and says he'll be sending them his bill later. Spider Man says, "Sometimes I forget you're an actual doctor." Superboy then tells Doctor Strange that he lost his powers in the alien war, and he asks if Strange could give them back. Strange tries, but it doesn't work for several reasons. One being that Superboy has a weakness to magic, just like his biological father, Superman, did. Superboy then explains that without his powers, he can't protect his mother, and everybody knows their secret identities now. So Spider Man asks Doctor Strange if he can make people forget that Superboy and his mother were ever members of the Superman family. Strange reluctantly agrees and then gets started. At one point, Strange mentions that everyone, including Strange, is about to forget who Superboy is. Spider Man says, "Even you? Can't the people who knew who he was before still remember him?" Doctor Strange says that's not how the spell works, adding that it is very dangerous to disrupt a spell once he's begun casting it. Spider Man continues to interrupt, though, and Strange says, "Let's not change the parameters of the spell as I'm casting it." The Sanctum Sanctorum shakes, and various bits of glassware fall over on their respective trembling tables and shatter. Doctor Strange, Spider Man, and Superboy are inside of a series of glowing golden rings that kind of look like those things you see online that are supposed to be biblically accurate angels, where the rings are all spinning in different directions. And Doctor Strange speaks the words of the spell, saying, "No living soul shall remember this Superboy ever existed." And of course, Spider Man keeps asking questions, wondering if he will still be in photographs or newspaper articles about Superboy. Spider Man asks if robots or ghosts would know who he is since they aren't living souls. And there's suddenly a blinding flash of light. When the light subsides, they have all been blown back away from the table that they were standing around. So they stand up and dust themselves off and are confused, and Spider Man asks what he's doing here. He also asks who this kid is. Doctor Strange says he has no idea, and he says he thought that the kid was with Spider Man. Spidey says he's never seen this kid ever before. So they ask the kid, and he himself has no idea why he's here or that he was ever even Superboy, or that his mother was Superwoman, or that his father is Superman. Doctor Strange looks around and concludes that he must have been casting a spell of some sort. Spider Man says he feels like he does right after his spider sense goes off. And Strange says, "So, there was danger, and now there's not. Hmm." So Strange concludes that whatever spell it was, it must have gone wrong. Spider Man asks the kid where he's from, And the young boy tells him about the farm where he lives, which is hundreds of miles from here. Spider Man asks how he got here then, and the kid can't remember. So Spidey asks Doctor Strange if it's possible he summoned this kid here by mistake. Strange says it is possible, and that perhaps the spell that failed was them trying to send him home again. So Doctor Strange waves his hand in a circle and creates a portal lined by a glowing golden energy. And on the other side of the portal is the farm and mundane life. The former Superboy is sad. He's leaving behind the world of superheroes. But as far as his conscious mind goes, he's not aware of it. But it's like his feelings themselves can still kind of recall that he's leaving something important behind. So he asks for a photograph, not even sure what it is that he's trying to hang on to. And Spider Man has a camera on him, so he obliges him. Spidey says earlier that morning he took a photo of a police officer chasing a criminal. The kid asks why Spider Man was doing that, but Spidey doesn't want to reveal his secret identity, so he just says it's a trade secret. Spider Man takes a selfie with the kid. Then the former Superboy steps through the portal, and Doctor Strange closes it. Spider Man says he has a weird feeling. Doctor Strange asks him what it is, and Spider Man says, "What's the opposite of deja vu?" Doctor Strange says it's called jamais vu. So Spider Man says he thinks he's experiencing jamais vu. Meanwhile, time passes, and the boy formerly known as Superboy slowly soaks in more and more yellow sun radiation. One day, at the junior high where he goes to school, a bully won't leave him alone. And for gym class, they play a game of kickball. Finally, the former Superboy makes solid contact with the ball, sending it right into the bully's face, knocking him out cold. Another kid, who'd also been bullied quite a bit over the years, is named Bryce. He tells the former Superboy that he's a real powerhouse, while other kids call him a freak as the bully is rushed to the ER. The bully is mostly fine, by the way. He just has a broken nose. And the teachers all are positive that it was just a weird accident. But after school, the former Superboy goes for a walk through the woods behind his farm and starts to test out his strength on some old dead trees. And his strength is slowly coming back as he's able to do some mild superhuman feats with it. But of course, from his point of view, he thinks that this is the first time his powers have ever manifested. So he mistakenly assumes, partially because of his age, that he's a mutant, and he decides to start going by the name Powerhouse. He'll learn the truth about his past one day. For now, that's a story for another day. We had fun with this one. Hopefully, you had fun hearing about it. If so, as always, smash like, check to see if you're still subscribed, and leave us a comment. And from everybody here at the longest running superhero role playing game on earth, we hope you have a good one, and we'll see you in the next adventure. Bye.